one of the assets that it's essential that you have control over is your domain name. So if you have a website already, you've likely registered a domain name. Most websites have a domain name. So let's just define terms first of all. A domain name is the part of your website's address that comes before the www. So if your website address was www.paypal.com, your domain name is paypal.com. So what do I mean by having control of that? Well, every domain name has an administrative email address associated with it. The person who is in control of that email address is at liberty to make changes to your website anytime they want to. They can change the name servers or the DNS, which is the thing that tells the internet where on the internet your domain name lives and where your email lives. So obviously you want to make sure that you have control over that asset. Now, why wouldn't anyone have this? Well, what often happens is you get your website developed, maybe it happened years ago, and you hired a web designer to do that, and when he registered the domain on your behalf, he used his email address. And a couple of things could happen that are a little bit dangerous. One is that that website designer may go out of business or disappear. Maybe something untoward will happen to him, and now you don't have control over your domain because his email address is on your domain record. So that's obviously no good at all. The other possibility is that he will change his email address, and his old email address he'll end up losing control of that and forgetting what the password is or whatever else. Long story short, you have no control. Now, if you find yourself in this situation, there are things you can do, but it requires paperwork and a lot of aggravation. It's something that my firm actually helps people with when they run into that problem. So how do you know if your domain name has a good administrative email address on it? Well, I'm going to show you just through a little walkthrough how you can do something called a whois query. And it's similar to a copyright search or a trademark search, and it gives you instant and free access to a world of public information about domain names. So if you Google whois, so that's like WHOIS, that's the name of the function we're talking about, you'll find several options for doing whois searches, and then you plug in your domain name and it will bring up the public record. Now, either you're going to see all the data related to your domain name, including your contact information or the contact information of the person who's authoritative for your domain name, or perhaps privacy has been turned on for your domain and you won't see anything at all. So if you can see your domain record and the email address is one of the principals in your company, then you're all set. You have control over your domain name, and the ideal thing at this point is to make sure that someone on your staff or one of the shareholders or stakeholders of your business is paying the bill, so that it's actually on an account that you control. So that domain name is fully in your control. Now, if you find that you're not in that situation, you can work with your web designer, if you have contact with him, to transfer that domain into the control of an account that you have with, say, a domain provider, such as GoDaddy or HostGator, or Network Solutions is one of the oldest and most reputable ones. So you set up an account with one of these companies, and there are a lot of them out there. Network Solutions is a very good institution to deal with. They are one of the oldest ones on the internet, and I'd strongly suggest using them. So start with opening an account with Network Solutions, and then either work with your web designer to transfer that into your control, or you can work with Network Solutions support, and they will help you make sure that your domain is moved into your control. So that is a good early step, and it is absolutely essential to putting you in control of your website assets. Now, I'll just make a footnote here. When you do that transfer of ownership, make sure that your name servers don't change. Because what's happening right now is your name servers tell the world who is announcing information about your domain and your email's location. If you change the name servers, you can break your email's functionality. All of the email in your firm will go down, and obviously you don't want that. So make sure you leave the name servers the same, and work with your IT company if any of this makes you nervous. But this is an important step to making sure that your domain asset is in your control.